Copenhagen is one of the most expensive cities in the world. It currently sits on the 6th place of the most expensive city in Europe. I thought it's perfect opportunity to combine two things I talk the most on this channel: money and travel. I try to explore the city and see how much I can actually get in the capital of Denmark for 100 euro. Many people say Denmark is culturally really close to the Netherlands, so I'm really curious to find any similarities or differences between the two nations. We drove all the way to Denmark from the Netherlands, passing through Germany. When you're driving into Denmark by car, you have two options. The first option is to take a ferry from Puttgarden in Germany to Nyhavn, which is about 2 hours away from Copenhagen. If you book in advance, you can get a good deal on a ferry ticket for around 30 to 50 euro per car. But we didn't do it. And if you try to book in the same day or for the next day, it costs from 100 to 150 euro. The second option is to drive around and cross a few bridges. In that case, you only need to pay when you enter the Storebælt bridge. You can pay it right on the bridge by card, and it costs 275 kronas one way. That's how we arrived to Copenhagen. Since driving technically occurred before our arrival in the city, I won't include it in my 100 euro budget. We cannot use euros here because Denmark uses Danish krona, so we need to convert the money. I'm not sure why in this type of videos YouTubers always show cash. I think it's more visually appealing, but in the modern world, of course, we use cards, Apple Pay, Google Pay. I mostly use Revolut these days. We can easily convert 100 euros to krona, and we got 744 kronas. Well, let's count 745. I like that after conversion in Revolut, you can just continue using the same card you already have, and they charge you in the currency that you're actually paying in until you have this money on the account. Revolut is not sponsored, but you can check my affiliate link in the description below. Copenhagen has excellent metro or subway system. First of all, it works 24/7. As I learned, only two other cities in the world has a 24/7 metro system, which is New York and Chicago, both in United States. This is great because in most of these cities you cannot use subway to get back to your house at night. And second, most of the trains are driverless, so there is no driver and they are fully automated, which is absolutely perfect. I think subway systems are ideal for automatization and for using driverless trains. They implemented it here on most of the subway within the city. The price depends on the amount of zones you need, but the regular one-way ticket will cost you around 24 kronas. But because we arrived here by the car and we recently bought a bike rack for our car, we had to bring our bikes. And as a person who lives in the Netherlands, I had to compare it to our bike lane system, and plus it's just a free type of transportation around Copenhagen. And I must say, it's really incredible what Copenhagen built in terms of bike lanes, and traveling around the city is a breeze and very enjoyable. A little bit picky, I think it's still behind of the Dutch system, and I even watched the Just Not Bikes YouTube video where he explains more technical details in terms of city building, but it doesn't matter. It's not a zero-sum game. I think we all benefit the more cities are bringing more biking culture, more bike lanes, and this is just amazing. So it was definitely a good decision to bring bikes here. I enjoyed biking around a lot, and there are also a lot of parks and the nature with the bike lanes, so you can enjoy it as well. Another highlight is parking your bike in Copenhagen is super safe. You'll see locals doing it all the time. The best bike locks they have here are over-the-wheel locks. It would be considered hilarious in Amsterdam, and you'd probably get your bike stolen. Also, some of the bike infrastructure is just amazing. My favorite spot is the Sakkelslangen bridge. It looks so futuristic, and it's great to look at it from the top of the shopping mall nearby. But biking on it even more exciting. Just be careful not to lose your head, because the wind here is not a joke. If you forgot to bring your bike, there are plenty of bike rentals available. You can find them all over the city, or you can use apps like Donkey Republic or Lime. One thing I was most excited about in Copenhagen was exploring the famous hygge concept. With the chill of October setting in, I looked forward to finding cozy cafes where I could enjoy coffee and Danish pastries. I was delighted to discover that the city has plenty of those, and most are hyggelig. The perfect place to start the day was a cafe in the Amager area where we stayed, called Finsen & Co. It has a warm, cozy vibe, excellent coffee, tasty sandwiches and fantastic carrot cake. All three of those cost me 130 kronas. Another excellent spot I found in this area is Diana's Bakery, which offers some of the best pastries I've ever tried, with a huge variety of them. If you have a sweet tooth like me, I absolutely recommend it. Today I picked an incredible marzipan cake. If you are from Denmark, let me know what it's called, because I've completely forgotten, and I also had another coffee. This tasty treat and coffee cost me 44 kronas. After this incredible start of the day, I decided to check out Amager Beach Park nearby. As a person who lived near the beach several times, and the last time in The Hague, I was wondering how other Nordic cold countries handle the beach. And I must say, it's an amazing place. It's exactly the cozy atmosphere I was looking forward in Denmark, because a lot of people just walking around wearing warm clothes, holding the hot beverages and just enjoying the beach, despite the weather is not being summery and hot. Everybody wears these knitted hats, like a winter hats, and it's a weird thing to notice, but in Netherlands nobody wears them. Everybody either doesn't wear a hat or, like me, a baseball cap. So that's one thing just I noticed that I find funny. One amazing feature here is those structures, which are actually saunas and swimming places. You can enjoy a sauna and then swim immediately in the Baltic Sea. They look so stylish, just as I imagine Danish buildings should appear. Since it's quite cold now, there aren't many people inside, but these places are quite popular in the summer, and they are completely free. I think it's an excellent place to just walk around, because the beach is really wide and the coastline is long, so you can run here, bike, or just walk after work or in the middle of the day. In general, I'm a big fan of modern, non-conventional, minimalistic architecture. So in that sense, Copenhagen was really interesting to me to discover some Scandinavian modern buildings. The downtown and a few parts of Copenhagen are really interesting in that sense. Some of the buildings are strange, like you see behind me, but some of the buildings are really cool. And they also are free to look at, so this is some way of save money, but still do some sightseeing. This part of Copenhagen definitely did not disappoint. The city offers numerous examples of modern architecture, and you can spend days discovering both popular and lesser-known buildings that will impress you. Among the well-known sites, my favorite is Copenhagen. It looks incredibly brutal and strange, yet it's an amazing fusion of recreation and eco-friendly energy. Copenhagen is a heat and power waste-to-energy plant, but it also features a dry ski resort, a climbing wall and a hiking trail. This combination perfectly illustrates how modern urbanism can be both functional and fun. A lesser-known building I really liked is Nyhavn Bibliotek Kulturhaus. This fully functional cultural space and library, located in a remote residential area, reminds us that cool buildings aren't exclusive to downtown. The library features a very narrow building design resembling a huge TV. It's incredible to view both from outside and inside. Another absolutely unique and incredible place is Grundtvigs Church. It's technically not a modern building since it was completed in 1940s, but it makes it even more interesting because I can imagine this being built in the 2020s. The church is an example of Impressionist architecture, which is very rare for churches. Another famous example is church in Iceland in Reykjavik, which name I would never manage to pronounce, which architecture was heavily influenced by this Danish church. It's not only beautiful on the outside, but it looks amazing inside as well, especially the two organs on the walls. I spent quite some time here just sitting and enjoying tranquility and the music from organs. A few more notable examples are the Royal Danish Opera, the Royal Library, and the National Aquarium called the Blue Planet. But there are so many more. I'll leave you to explore the rest by yourself. So I'm usually not that big onto museums in the cities we're visiting, but if one museum I wanted to visit here, it's a design museum, because I think usually Nordic countries and Scandinavian countries, they make the best design. So I think it only makes sense to visit it here. The museum entrance cost 130 kronas, and it might look like a small building from the outside, but we got lost in it pretty quickly and easily spent there 3 to 4 hours. It's divided into different themes and exhibits, so everyone can find something they like. The museum shows not only the history of design concepts and famous Danish designers, but also a lot of food for thought. For example, how to create sustainable design or what type of design will be defining the future. A section called Sharing Futures was probably my favorite, and I was especially happy to see the mention of digital nomads, or how they call it, nomadic independence, which is arguably a better name. It was represented as possible future of work, travel and lifestyle, and was prepared by Danish students. It also mentioned a few cool ideas like sharing apartment subscriptions where you're part of house exchange network and basically always have a place to stay anywhere in the world, or idea of slow trains which are specifically manufactured for remote work and travel at the same time. Of course, there was a whole section about chairs, because Danes love their chair designs, as they should. Overall, it was a great experience, but we needed to move on with exploring the city. Another place I was always fascinated about since I learned it a long time ago is Freetown Christiania. And it's really interesting because it's a very unique place. Let's check it out. Christiania is a self-declared autonomous neighborhood in the heart of Copenhagen. Back in the 70s, a group of activists and free spirit took over an abandoned military site, proclaiming it a community independent from Danish law. They envisioned a society rooted in collective ownership and a rejection of modern materialism. Today, Christiania remains an iconic spot for those drawn to an alternative way of life, attracting free-spirited artists, open-minded residents, and just curious tourists like myself. With around 1,000 residents, it still operates by its own set of rules, enjoying a unique form of conditional independence granted by the Danish government. Over the years, Christiania had faced recurring issues with drug trafficking and criminal gang activity, which intensified in 2023. A surge in gang-related violence prompted the community to ask for support in managing those challenges. This led to discussion with the government about purchasing more land and developing public housing, and with the support of Danish police raids, the situation appears to be improving in 2024. During my visit, Christiania had a peaceful and noticeably tourist-friendly atmosphere. I could film freely, which wasn't always the case here. The once infamous Pusher Street, known for drug sales, even had its cobblestones removed to discourage such activity. Though occasional incidents reportedly still occur, it feels like Christiania is on a path to creating a safer, more positive environment for its residents. It was a fascinating place to explore, and to my knowledge, there is nowhere else quite like it in Europe. As I left, I noticed a sign that reads, "You are now entering you." It's almost like a playful reminder, kinda, you've been warned. For me, it's always a little bit hard to recommend very touristic places because I personally am not a fan to be in the touristic areas where there's a lot of people. But this area, center of Copenhagen, especially this alley that's called Nyhavn, I think it's definitely worth visiting because these buildings, colorful, they're pretty iconic. And I would recommend not only take a picture near them, but also just go around city center. The downtown is beautiful in Copenhagen. There are so many things to do and to see.
Walking around the center of Copenhagen was one of my favorite things to do. The city is big and spread out, and I'm sure there are still many places I haven't seen yet, which is a great reason to come back. If you're visiting, I would suggest skipping a strict itinerary. Just wander or bike around and enjoy the city at your own pace. If you're coming in the warmer season, you can even swim in the canals or relax on one of the city's many sun desks. If you enjoy green spaces, Nyhavn is a wonderful place to relax in nature. There are lots of sheep roaming around freely and they are used to people, so you can even pet them or take a selfie. There should be also alpacas here, though they tend to be a bit shyer and harder to spot. Perhaps they just had enough of tourist attention. Another cool spot I'll mention is Fabriken, a cultural hub set in an old candy factory. It's perfect if you're into street art, with walls covered in ever-changing murals. You might even catch artists painting live when you visit. By this point I was feeling pretty hungry, so it was time to explore some Copenhagen street food.
Another excellent place to grab a lunch or a dinner, it's Bruen's street food. I think it's very popular here because I see it every day, a lot of people inside, and it has a great vibes. Even today is a little bit colder and they have these heating thingies above the table, so it's nice even if it's cold. So we grabbed the gyros, which I tried already yesterday, and really nice. It's a little bit small, but it costs 99 kronas. Totally recommend this place.
The next day we hit the road to check off another spot of my bucket list.
Our last stop for the whole trip is not technically in Copenhagen, it's in a very small town called Billund. As you probably know, Denmark is home of very big and famous company called Lego. As a kid, I was really into Lego stuff. I was buying quite a lot of these constructors. I just owned it to my past self, to my inner child, to visit this place. We arrived a little bit later, so let's go and explore it.
This place was everything I'd imagined and more. There are endless Lego bricks to build with and plenty of interactive stations to explore. You can make a stop-motion movie with Lego characters, design a space invention to quote-unquote launch into space, or build your own race car and compete with others. A huge plus is that you can take photos at each station and download all the memories later at home. This place is totally worth visiting, whether you have kids or not. There is also a lot of history about Lego here, showing how the company built its iconic brand that recognized around the world. Entry to the museum cost 279 kronas per person, which left me with just 63 kronas left in my budget. But when I heard about the Lego restaurant, I decided to go over budget and booked a table for another 219 kronas, leaving me at a negative 156 kronas. The restaurant was definitely one of the highlights of the trip and a perfect way to finish it.
The way you're ordering in this mini chef cafe, that you're basically building your order from the bricks, and each brick is a certain dish. Here's my order. There's like a special tray. Let's put it inside. Yay! Another order goes in. Here they are.
Once it's ready, the food arrives on a conveyor belt. Yes, an actual Lego-style conveyor belt built in real life. There are even two friendly robots to entertain you while you wait for your food. And of course, the food is served in Lego block containers. It was a fantastic experience, full of fun and laughter, with local staff who were super friendly and quick to joke around.
Looks good. Hey, I'm already back home, and I guess it's time for some reflections on the trip. The purpose of this video was to see how much I can get for 100 euro, but I ended up spending a lot of time doing actually free things, so there was not so many things that I have to pay. But even with that in mind, even with trying to be as budget-wise as possible, I still ended up going over budget and spending 900 kronas in total, which is on today's exchange rate equal to 120 euros. Copenhagen is definitely an expensive city. If you're planning to visit, I would recommend you budget a little bit extra, it will be helpful. For me, this trip was totally worth it. I really enjoyed my time in the city. It has many things that I really like: cozy cafes, modern architecture, great biking infrastructure, really nice people, and I think this city is great both for visiting and for living there. I would totally imagine myself living in this city, but if you watch my other videos, you probably know my heart is already belonged to other biking flat nation, and it was good to be back. But I enjoyed Copenhagen a lot, and I left only with warm memories from the city. It's definitely my kind of city, and I would love to come back one day. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful. I had quite a bit of fun making it, so let me know, maybe I will make such videos about other cities. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next one. Doei doei.